call the meeting to order this evening. I'd like to first welcome Representative William Lawrence. He lives in Mason County. He's the representative for the 70th District, which formerly was Bracken, Fleming, Mason, and Robertson. With the new alignment, he's dropping Fleming County and picking up Harrison County. So we'd like to welcome you this evening.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything, Mr. Lawrence?
I'm a politician, I have to say something. I'll be short and sweet, I promise you, I'm quick. I want to just thank you guys for the work that you're doing. I've worked with Dr. Burchett here on several different occasions. I'm really excited about coming down, touring the school system, looking at some of the expansions that we're looking to do. A lot of the bills that I have worked on since I took office is like really focused on trades industry and trying to get folks involved in that in any way that we can. And I was so excited to hear about all the trades programs that you guys are doing. Thank you for that work. Thank you for that. House Bill 1, and this will be the only bill I'll go over because there's a ton. House Bill 1 is going to actually put more funding into public education than we've ever done before. And I'm very, very proud to be a sponsor of that bill. Worked very hard on that. We're hoping to continue that work and to continue to support you guys so that you can continue to educate our young people and find great teachers to do that. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you for coming this evening. Okay.
Short and sweet, I told you.
Okay. Well, hopefully that meeting will be the same tonight. I'd like to call to order the Harrison County Board of Education. If all people would stand, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight, we're going to feature something a little different. We have a video presentation. Harrison County Nation, good news from across the district. So Mr. Ritchie and the HCHS media art students. So this is exciting. This is our first time we've done this.
We've got to get a camera lined up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, probably.
Do they want to move to some of them? Can Russ see back there?
Okay, so this is my 9th year in the district, but it's my first year as a certified teacher. I was able to, with the help of the high school principals, become certified through what's called the New Teacher Institute. So what that means is now, instead of having just one class, which was broadcast journalism, we have a whole pathway. Right now we have 4 classes. If you count yearbook, next year we'll have a full slate because you have to have 4 core classes for a pathway to be complete. So a couple of weeks ago I talked to Dana, and she pitched this idea of my classes, my students doing this video for you guys to feature our good news from around the district. So I didn't just pick like my advanced class, I let all my classes run it. So what you're gonna see is a little bit of the whole program, the intro level, which is freshmen, sophomores, the studio fundamentals, which is kind of the middle, advanced, which is like a filmmaking class, and I threw in a yearbook kid, just to include her. I'm going to let these guys introduce themselves to you. They're part of the program now, and then we'll jump to the video.
I'm Grant Ferguson. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I've been in this program for about 4 years.
Great.
I'm Grace Wilson. I'm a junior in high school, and I've been in this program for 6 years.
Hi, my name is Demery Lemons. I'm a senior this year. I've been with Mr. Ritchie since 6th grade, so about 7 years now. To say the sob story, he's quite a leader for all of us, and we really hope you enjoy this video.
Thank you.
I don't know if you all remember Representative 4 years ago. Demi was a freshman.
Okay, do we want to?
This is her curtain call.
Yay. Aw.
Starting out, you're the oldest performer.
Yeah.
First.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like...
Good evening and welcome to HC Nation, good news from across the district. The Harrison County High School's Media Arts program has produced this video so you can see what's going on in our schools. First of all, congratulations to Harrison County Middle School science teacher, Mrs. Jean Jones, on receiving Educator of the Year Award in the Chamber of Commerce's Community Impact Awards. Mrs. Jones is in her 29th year at HCMS and has also taught at Union College and St. Camillus Academy.
The
Harrison County Esports team was created in the 2019-2020 school year. Coaches Austin Dacey and Tommy Mullins created this team to give students with skills in video gaming a shot at big opportunities and a community that accepts everyone. Varsity team member Savannah Neese was recently scouted by Midway University's esports team coach during a practice and was offered a scholarship to Midway under their esports program. She accepted, and a signing was held for her at Harrison County High School, in which family and friends attended. Savannah is paving the way for herself and future e-athletes, being not only the first female recipient, but the first HCHS student, period, to receive an esports scholarship. A great job by Savannah, paving the way for future student athletes in this sport.
HCMS has another award winner and band director, Miss Julie Lucky. She is the 2022 Kentucky Music Educator Association Middle School State Band Director of the Year. Miss Lucky is also in her 29th year with the district and has been the sole middle school band director since the 2011-2012 school year. She has also served as an assistant director for the Harrison County High School Band in her career. We talked to Miss Lucky, and here's what she had to say about this honor.
This is really awkward for me because I'm normally used to having the kids at the forefront, because in a concert we're listening for the kids and I'm just the person throwing my arms around trying to get them to play together. But I just wanted to say that I'm really humbled by the award. I was telling the superintendent that I read the email at least 15 times, just could not believe I'd won KMEA State. I've watched so many great band directors win the award, and I've always thought what a cool deal that was. I owe so much to Bob and Laura Gregg. They have been my mentors through all of my education, and I wouldn't be a band director without them. My mom and dad have been nothing but supportive, and until my mother passed this past year, they came to every concert. My dad still does, which is wonderful. I'm so proud of the band, and I couldn't do all the work without the support of my husband, Ernie, and the support of Will Lucky, because, you know, he's moved enough band chairs his whole entire life that he definitely could move furniture for a furniture store for sure. But anyway, we can't do this job without our community, without our school district being so supportive. So thank you, Dr. Burchett and the Harrison County school system for all of your support for these last 29 years. Our arts programs are valued here, and we do our work for our kids because we have such great support. So I hope this doesn't sound ridiculous, but I love my school, I love my band, I love my kids, I love my community, and thank you so much for recognizing me as a Band Director of the Year for the state. Thank you.
Congratulations, Miss Lucky.
Harrison County High School's Thoroughbreds wrestling team competed in the 6th Region Tournament at Bryan Station High School on Saturday, February 12th. 12 of the 14 wrestlers qualified for state, with sophomore Logan Dingus and junior Layden Nelson taking individual championships in their weight classes. 7 other wrestlers were runner-up in their classes. As a team, the Thoroughbreds took the title, and head coach Josh Ashbrook took a minute to talk with us about it.
This is Sarah Arnold from HCHS Media Arts here with Thoroughbreds Wrestling head coach Josh Ashbrook. The Breds won the region tournament last Saturday for the first time in a long time. Mr. Ashbrook, tell us a little more about this and how it feels to come home with the region title.
Oh, it was great. We haven't won a region title since 1984. And the cool thing about that is my father was a part of that team. Eric Dingus's father, Rick Dingus, was the head coach, and he's now an assistant, and his grandson is on my team as well, Logan Dingus, who was a region champ. Jeff Watts was a member of that 1984 team, and his son, Michael, is wrestling for the team as well. So it's really cool. It's kind of nostalgic. We've been working a long time for this. We were in Region 8 for 8 years, and we're runner-ups 7 years in a row. So it was great to get over the hump finally. And, you know, back in 2015, we lost by half a point to Johnson Central. So it was kind of cool. I told the boys a win's a win, and we'll take it by 50 or take it by half a point. I don't care. So I'm really proud of the boys. This is just a stepping stone for the program. We're going to keep going up from here. So it's pretty cool. I'm happy for them.
Thank you, Coach Ashbrook. And now back to the studio.
It's a great time to be a Harrison County wrestler.
Harrison County High School Beta Club members competed in the State Beta Conference in January. 3 Harrison County High School students placed in the competition. Junior Ashley Vela placed second in solo, duo, trio, and received a golden ticket to be a premier performer at Nationals. Hayden Lunsford placed third on the freshman agro-science team, and Shannon Bosnick placed fifth in the poetry for Division I. All 3 qualified for a national conference.
Hey, good morning. This is Mr. McCann. I teach AP Environmental Science here at the high school. I've partnered recently with the agriculture education courses with Miss Katie Crump, Miss Lacey Short. It's taken us probably 18 months, but we finally purchased and set up a full running aquaponics station. The goal here for myself and AP Environmental Science and the other environmental science courses was to kind of present the kids something with sustainability. That's kind of like our pillars of, if you could call it a foundation thing for our course. Obviously it mirrors very well with the ag department and the FFA classes, and maybe future down the road, you know, SAE projects for the senior ag kids. But anyways, we did also get some help with the Soil Conservation Board. They were able to donate some money, and Mr. Brannick was able to move some money around to get this purchased. It was not cheap. Of course, with COVID and all that good stuff, things were actually a little more expensive than we had hoped. But nevertheless, it's here and it's set up. And as crazy as it sounds, 3 high school kids have put it together. And it's phenomenal. What they've done, definitely weeks, hours, down there putting it together, and we're almost at the point where we can buy the fish and start growing stuff. We still have a couple more steps. We got to set up some lights and all that good stuff. But to give you a rundown of what aquaponics is, essentially we're going to take fish. We'll probably use tilapia, however you pronounce it. It's up to you. It's your choice. But we're going to take those fish. Their wastewater is then going to go into basically like a wastewater treatment type setup. There's going to be a clarifying chamber, a settling tank. Then we're eventually going to have bacteria. The bacteria is going to break down the wastewater of the fish, and then that water, that nutrient water with nitrite in it, that's going to go to our floating trays. And then in our floating trays, we're going to grow, you know, tomatoes, lettuce. We'll probably grow lettuce first, since it's really hard to mess that up, and it's basically water in a leaf. But we're going to do that first. Hopefully we can keep the fish alive. The environmental science classes are going to take charge with like water quality and that kind of stuff. And the ag kids are probably going to make sure that the fish are fed and that the plants get plenty of light. Ultimately, talking with Austin Dacey in our nutrition department, hopefully we can raise enough fish that we can potentially offer fish in the cafeteria, maybe down the road, who knows. I like to eat fish. I like fish tacos. And now we're looking at a project that's, you know, interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, all that good stuff in the education lingo. And it's going to be exciting. And so I look forward to hopefully getting it running by the springtime, and we can do our first run of fish and lettuce, and we'll have a product. So it's awesome. Thanks.
This wraps up our February show. We hope you enjoyed it.
From all of us in Harrison County Media Arts, have a great night, and we'll see you in March.
Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Well, I can assure you that the audience is much happier with that video than us reading the good news report. I know I am. That was awesome.
She showed up late. These are my wrestlers.
Oh, congratulations. You'll be on there next month.
That's right.
That's awesome.
And she did the intro to Miss Lucky's.
Great, great.
These kids did all the work. I did a little bit of cutting together. Demi's section was completely her. She wrote it, put it all together.
It was awesome.
It was great. Thank you so much. That's going to be the highlight of every meeting now, I can assure you. That is great.
Will you refresh my memory and tell me what their names are again, Donald?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What are their names again?
Jenny Cummings.
Hello, Cindy.
This is Jenny Lemons, Grace Wilson, and Grant Ferguson.
All right, thank you.
Grant's mom works over at CEC. Grace's mom teaches at Eastside.
Okay, yeah.
And they've all been in the program for several years. There's 2 middle ground all the way up through high school.
Well, you could tell they weren't neophytes, for sure.
That is great. Thank you so much. We really did enjoy it. Looking forward to future ones. Next item on the agenda this evening, Mr. Sam Arnold, McDowell Farm presentation. Thank you for joining us.
You know, it's always a pleasure to come before this board. It's an honor. And to hear what developments are occurring with within our school system. It only causes me, as I've told other people, I wish we could give more from the trust to support the school system. Here is a check and for $12,500.
Ooh. Thank you so much.
Well,
You have given us a lot of support.
and I wish I could more, but we've got to balance.
It's a farm.
It's
The expenses.
It takes money to run a farm.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
And the fertilizer, all of gasoline, fuel is all increased, and it seems like it will. But I think it's wonderful what the ag that I just heard about, aquatic fish and whatnot, lettuce. You know, I guess it was many years ago that I attended Harrison County High School, and the developments are really amazing. As a kind of an update, I thought about things that you all might want to hear. I think the solar is certainly not dead. It's kind of, I appeared before you all, and I appreciate the unanimous approval that you gave regarding a possible swap. It is kind of in a holding pattern as I perceive it. That's one thing. I wish all of the farmers could be here tonight, but they have obligations that they need to perform. I would introduce Austin Mullins. Austin, if you would just, he is a student here at Harrison County High School now. This is the first time, and I like that ability. You might tell the board how many acres you have and what your plans are.
That's pretty cool
And
that
who
he's
you
still a
parent.
student.
Okay, as many of you know and might not know, my parents is David and Joyce Ann Mullen. I think on my track I have about 140 acres. We have done a lot of improvements in the last year. I've been on McDowell about a year now. Built a lot of fence, seeded a lot of ground. Got it back into a good working cattle farm. Got about 34 cows now and 33 babies, I think, all doing well. Hope to next year to branch out and raise some tobacco on McDowell Farm. So far, it's all been great. Hope to keep going and improving, and everything's going great. And y'all have a good evening.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you,
And good luck.
Introduce Drayton Cottle. He's been here before. He's kind of one of the main maintenance men, whatnot.
Yeah, I've been before here.
Things are continuing to go up for me, especially during the winter times. One of the other farmers, Clay, he's focusing on crops and not so much in the cattle. So during the winter times, after his fields have been combined and harvested, I purchased some more cattle and turned them out and kind of almost double crop the farm. They eat a lot of the fodder and a lot of the grass that's on the perimeter fencing, and so we're able to take advantage of all of the ground during the winter time, and then during the summertime I kind of consolidate back to my little area. But things are going good and continues to give me more opportunities to kind of branch out and expand things.
So how many head of cattle do you have now?
I have 23
Great.
cows and 16 calves.
You have
great.
expanded, because I remember the first time you came up here. You have expanded.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
And it's an opportunity that continues to grow, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. So, but yeah, good to see everybody again, and
Thank you for coming.
I'll be here again.
Okay, keep us posted.
Good deal.
Dr. Burke, school board members and guests, thank you all once again for letting us barge in on the meeting tonight. I'm Russ Arnold. It's almost 15 years now. I've been dealing very closely with the McDowell Trust Farm, and I try and do whatever possible to help ease anything between communication between Dad and the farmers, anything that can be done to help the farmers progress and be as productive as possible during their stint on their track. I would just like to say, like Dad said, the aquaponics endeavor tonight is a very important step to me as far as to see what we're able to contribute not only to the school system but to the community. And I'd just like to thank you all for letting us come up.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Russ. Thank you.
I'm sure that these young men have other things to do and will depart. But
You're more than welcome to sit and watch the whole night.
I'm sure there will be many, many interesting things. But yes, I'll be back again.
All right, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
for
Thank you.
the funds. Next item on the agenda is the fun part and the exciting part. We are honored to present Miss Julie Lucky with a little memento for 2022 KMEA Middle School Band Director of the Year. And it goes without saying, anybody that is from Cynthiana or knows anything about band in Harrison County realizes the part that Julie has played, not only in band, but in the life of her students. I noticed on social media when she got the honor, there were so many comments from students. And that says so much about the impact that she's had. And it's not only the students, it's their families. They were so excited and so happy because she's built such strong relationships. And she gives 110%, not only for her band students, but in her classroom. And we're just so grateful for all that you've done for your students at the middle school and for students of just Harrison County school system in general. So we are so honored to be able to present this to you this evening, and thank you again. We really do appreciate it.
We can't do any of this without you. The board has been so supportive. I've been here 29 years, and there's not a moment that our Board of Education, no matter who was in those seats right here, has not been 110% behind our arts programs here in Harrison County, the band program, and I've felt full support all the way through this office building. I think I've had to talk to everybody in this building to help me find a way to get kids financial help, to get kids whatever we need. And so it's all about the kids, and we know that. I'd like to thank Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Valentine. Through this COVID situation, I talked to my band directors in District 7, and I talked to the state band directors in Louisville this past month. There is not one school that had the support that I did. Harrison County Middle School has wonderful principals who made sure that our students did not suffer due to COVID. They made sure they played. They found space for them that was wide open. They found things that we could make sure that they were healthy but also successful. And I am supported so well by Mr. Valentine and Mr. McIntyre. And our arts programs at Harrison County Middle School are wonderful. And we're able to give the kids an art education as well as all the other arts. So I just want to thank you so much for all you've done for me and for our kids in the community. I tell you what, we've got a great place, and I wouldn't be anywhere. I just want to also thank my family. My mother-in-law, my father, and my husband are here tonight. You can't be a successful teacher if you don't have a really strong family backing you and not upset because you're not home. We're all doing it for the kids, and they've been there for the kids as well. So thank you, board. Thank you for everything, Mr. McIntyre, Mr. Valentine, and thank you, Harrison County. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We had another special educator that we were going to be recognizing this evening, Ms. Jean Jones, 2022 Educator of the Year. And she's not able to be with us this evening, but we also had a beautiful plaque for her. So we'll be delivering that at a later time.
Yep.
So, thank you. Next item this evening is consideration and grant approval for the HCHS Philly softball interim coach Chad Persinger. Welcome.
I was asked to come to see if anybody had any questions about the trip we're going to be taking April the 15th. I received this job just a few weeks ago, and I kind of inherited this trip, but I'm glad that I did because we get to face a team from West Virginia and a team from Ohio. You know, kind of get the girls a little opportunity there to face some different teams from different states. So, and we're just there one night on April 15th and coming back on the 16th. Didn't know if anybody had any questions about that.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Ms. Hatterick. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you
you.
so much, and good luck with your season.
I appreciate it. I'm going to head to practice. All right.
All right.
Thank you all.
Next item on the agenda is consideration to grant approval for ROTC students to travel to Anniston, Alabama. Major Montgomery, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. This is a trip that we've done, you probably remember several times now, at least 3, I think. And the reason I'm asking you to allow us to do it again is because I think the model's working. It's a civilian marksmanship program, which has headquarters in Camp Perry, which is in Port Clinton, Ohio, right on the bank of the, actually shores, I guess it would be, of Lake Erie. And also in Anniston, Alabama, they have another competition center down there. This will be a trip in the last week of July for the whole week. I'm taking 4 cadets, 4 of my new shooters from this year, so to expose them to some world-class training, and that we always get trained not only academically, but they get the training, on the actual range itself from these college shooters that are really good. And I think the kids love it, and our results, I think, are showing that it's probably a good thing to keep doing, and it's a good experience for the kids too, as well.
Great.
So.
Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
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 Excellent, thank you. I did want to make mention of the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Brian Lutz usually fund almost all that. They'll be funding the majority of this trip as well, and I
Okay.
just really
Thank you.
appreciate their support in this as well, so.
Thank you
and-
so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Major Montgomery, you just had a competition where you had a few winners, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just went to CMP in Ohio on the 12th. We did, and we competed. It's a really lengthy process, but basically, out of 106 teams, Air Force JROTC teams around the world, we finished 16th. So I'm pretty proud of our guys. And one of our young girls, one of my first-year shooters, Miss Hogue, actually earned a spot in the finals, in the regional finals of that, and was 8th in the Camp Perry portion of that. And she did really great. So they're doing well. I'm very proud of them. You should know that they represent you very well.
That's great. Thank you for all that
Yes.
you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate being able to see the link and watch that
Yes,
action
yes.
happen live as they were doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm glad you got the chance to see that. It's pretty amazing how they do that.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Ms. Patty Clapp, consideration to grant approval for trip for HCHS Beta Club.
Hi, good evening.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm over here.
I'm sorry.
And if y'all didn't know, it is 2/2/2/2, and
Yes.
it's Tuesday. Yes, thank you for having me. I'm here to ask permission to take the Beta Club students to the national competition. It's in Nashville this year, and that will be, the actual convention is July 1st to July 4th. And if Ashley chooses to be the premier performer where she's been invited, we would have to go a day earlier because they have where they learn the routine, and it's like students from all over. They picked out the best singers and the best dancers from all of the states, and they will open up the convention with a performance. So, it's a good opportunity for our students. I'm trying to grow it. The first year we went to the state convention, I had one winner. This year I had 3, so I'm proud of that. I had nothing to do with it, except inviting them to come and compete. So, our ag student learned her stuff from the ag teacher, and our musical student was born with that ability. And, you have to give the English teachers credit for poetry. And I said, I just, taken charge of the Beta Club and have just tried to encourage them to compete and do the best that they can. And so I'd like to see them have that opportunity to go and compete at the national level again.
That's great. Any questions or comments? Move. Motion made by Ms. Hatterick.
Second.
Second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes. 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 Motion passes.
Hey,
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good luck.
Next item on the agenda this evening is consideration of grant approval of board minutes and fundraisers. You've all had that for your review prior to the meeting. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Ms. Brunker,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next item is consideration to grant approval of the February 2022 financial reports, which include board, school activity, and booster accounts, and the paid warrant. Any questions or comments after your review of these items?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Hatterick,
Second.
second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ms. Hatter, consideration to grant approval of the 2022-2023 memorandum of agreement for dual credit.
And I don't know if you even need me up here, but both of them are pretty much standard issue memorandums of agreement.
Yes.
One with Somerset regarding students at the ATC, and the other one with Maysville Community and Technical College, which is very standard of what you're accustomed to. And the board attorney has reviewed them both.
Do we have to do these separately?
Well, they're on separate items on the agenda, so yeah.
So we'll do the Maysville Community and Technical College first. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Sparks.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hatterick. All in favor, say yes.
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 Yes, motion carries.
Thank
Next item, we'll do these separately. Next item is Somerset Community College. Do I hear a motion for approval for the dual credit memorandum?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. Ms. Hatter, next item, this is exciting news to Think Kids College. This is consideration to grant approval to sponsor 20 kids for Kids College. I'll let you speak to that.
This is so nice for it to be back and operational. We're thrilled to partner with Maysville Community and Technical College and offer those scholarships. They really run this show. I just think it is so wonderful to give kids that opportunity, especially after a pandemic for 2 years. Other than that, it's what you're used to. It's just been a while since you've done it.
And it's so nice to have these things back on the agenda.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm kind of having to go through my mind going, I don't remember what I used to say about this.
Yes.
But very much proudly what we used to do. And they also just hosted with us a college and career preparation day that many of your children or grandchildren may have been a part of, that they always are willing, like they give up their whole building on a Friday. Miss Garnett and Miss Nichols and Mr. Fowler all set that up, and we had teachers, and Maysville comes and shows them what college is like and some things to think about. It's a good thing for kids.
That's great. If there are no questions or comments, do I hear a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Motion made by Ms. Brunker,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is Ms. Hatter also. Consideration to grant approval to add one elementary reading coach.
Normally, Miss Kendall would be speaking to this since she wrote those initial math and reading grants, but she's all about that real tall blonde-headed kid that plays basketball for the thoroughbreds. And she's just not here tonight. I don't know what's wrong with her. No, she asked me would I answer questions, which I certainly can to you. The numbers and the scores certainly merit this help. We've got to start the Dolly Parton Library kickoff that many of you are a part of. And then I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of the paper's readerships and some media's here. All people have to do is if they want to donate, is write a check to the Harrison County Board, put in that 4-line, the words Dolly Parton Library, Dolly Parton. Any of those things will get money in the kids of hands birth to age 5. We're excited about that, and I only use that example because it starts with a collection of things, and this is one little piece of that. And it doesn't make good use of the taxpayer money, my opinion, as a 20-year veteran administrator, to have you get a grant that is really asking us too much of an ask, I think, personally, to make it happen. Whereas this, yes, it is money that you all are agreeing to do, but it's a much better use of the money for kids to improve their reading and writing scores. So, and I can speak to, any of the things. The position is very similar to what the grant position was. It's very similar to what the math position that you approved last month was.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Hatter?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor. Second. Second by Ms. Hatterick. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
And also, while you're there,
Yes.
thank you so much for your lead on the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. That is just amazing. And I just think about the generations that are going to be impacted by that.
And it's been a learning experience. I think I'm well-versed in grants and nonprofits, but it's been learning, because they have 18 people worldwide. That's all they employ. And when you have that little of a skeleton of staff and you're doing that big of an initiative, we had a lot of questions. I think they probably have our picture up going, these people ask lots of questions because, Ms. Fowler asked them very much in terms of little tiny people and what they need to read. I ask them in terms of globally, how do we keep this thing going? And Ms. Asher's the one that wants to know, how's the money going to work? And we're so proud to partner with the library. Kenzie Gregg Gauntz has just been a delight and fun to work with your former students. And the community since Friday, I believe I got this right. Julie, I don't know if we've had almost close to $5,000 in pledges just in that alone. Just people going, we are going to commit to that. And that is like, we're going to ask the board for this. Could you give me this, Jenny Lynn? Could you give me this, Julie? Could you give me this, Whitney? Whitney and Debbie are the detail about I'm just part of a team. And goodness knows the money makes my chest hurt most of the time. And Julie's very good with that. So she and Doc have to read over everything if it involves some dollar signs when I get into town. But it's exciting for our little kids. And you all remember when you got mail when you were little.
It's so exciting.
You know, that's an exciting thing. I don't know if kids understand that there's something does come in the mailbox, but ours are about to understand that, you know. I know they think differently than we do, but it's an exciting thing for them.
Thank you so much for all your efforts in that.
So it is. It's exciting. Thank you all for approving.
Ms. Asher, consideration to grant approval for emergency certification.
We have a teaching position at the high school that was vacated mid-year, and Mr. Fowler has found a replacement. They are a certified teacher, it's just in a different area, so we need to get approval from you all for emergency certification.
Certainly. Any questions or comments?
Will this individual be pursuing permanent certification?
I'm not sure if they are in that area or not.
Okay.
But we definitely work every year to make sure that whatever position is, that person is certified in that area, so.
Okay.
Which is going to be more and more difficult, sadly to say. So if there are no further questions or comments, do I hear a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Brunker,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda this evening is the approval to add a homeless advocate position.
Okay, we found out a couple of weeks ago that the state had received some additional ARP money for homeless students, and they have passed that on down to the school districts. We are allocated here in Harrison County a little over $46,000. The purpose of this money is to identify homeless students, to help them, support them in any way getting to school, support them, making sure that we do everything we can, that their attendance is good, help them with anything that they may need that they don't have to be successful in school and even in extracurricular activities. So I had emailed Mr. Schweitzer and Ms. Kendall, and we met, and I think the consensus was that a position, and this position will only last as long as the funds last, to go seek these students out, make sure that we have identified all the students that are homeless, that are already in the system, and seek those out that are not, and see what services we can provide for them.
I'd just like to make a couple of comments about that, because I think, and I'm making this for the public, I think that everybody needs to be aware that it's not just someone that's living outside. I mean, there are so many forms of homelessness. So I looked this up, the McKinney-Vento definition of homelessness, and this is what's used for Head Start, which I know you know this, but I'm just sharing this for the public. The definition includes children and youth living in shelters, transitional housing, cars, campgrounds, motels, and sharing the housings of others temporarily due to the loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reasons. And this might be a teenager that's couch surfing, that doesn't have a consistent place to lay their head at night. And I think that sometimes we think in Harrison County that we're insulated from that, but we're not. So I was so happy to see that we have these funds available. And it's something that if we see, after this grant runs out, that we need, we certainly need to look at continuing to fund it. But I think sadly, I think our eyes are going to be opened.
I know for a fact they will.
Yeah.
There's one time in my life I fit that description.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know they're out there.
Yeah. So, again, it goes back to our focus of supporting all students. And during COVID, we even stepped up even more. But when there's just so many students that we don't know what they go through at night and what they're living with. So I'm really excited about this program. And thank you for all of your work in getting it. So anybody else have any questions or comments?
I was teaching at Maysville, and one of my students had graduated from Harrison County, and I was appalled when she told me that for half a year, a whole semester, that she lived in her car in the high school parking lot. Mm-hmm. And she would leave when the school let out so that she wouldn't be noticeable and then come back in later on where no one detected that she was doing that. And I was just, how do we find that out? You know, how do we know that? And this was a child from at least 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's not any better now.
No. So I'm excited to see what we can, how many more students we can help with this. If there are no further questions or comments, do I hear a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hattery. All in favor, say yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration to grant approval for the salary schedules for the 2022-2023 school year. Ms. Asher.
This is probably a little earlier than we normally do this, but, you know, back last year and even before that, Dr. Burchett and I have talked many times about what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can't find teachers. We can't find cooks. We can't find instructional assistants. You know, we've had such a hard time, everybody has, finding people to fill positions to work here. So we've been working on this since probably last fall, and the first thing that he said is let's get some committees together of employees and get their thoughts on what we can do. But, you know, we all know that to be, you know, to be competitive in recruiting and retaining employees, pay is a big part of that. So we got some committees together. We had, I think, 4 committees. There was a certified teaching committee of teachers. There was an instructional assistant committee. There was a cafeteria staff committee. And the 4th one was, a bus, a transportation committee. So what we did is I pulled together a list of all the surrounding counties and what their pay was for those positions. And we sat down and looked at those. I shared those with the committee back before Christmas. And we talked about, you know, they kind of shared any issues that they thought we had with our salary schedules. We, you know, just talked in general about their positions. And I've learned a lot of things, you know, through that process and shared those with Dr. Burchett. And then got back with him. And what we did is we took our existing salary schedules and we kind of reworked some of those where we had a lot of, on our classified schedules, where there was no movement at all for several years at a time. So we kind of worked those, spread things out where there was every year you got at least a little something for your years of experience to hopefully try to keep up with cost of living. On our certified scales, we had, and it's been that way since I've been here, there was a, you know, at a certain year, year 10, there was a pretty large jump. We took that and spread it back out to the first 9 years and kind of smoothed the schedule out overall. Then we, after we got the schedules adjusted, some of them we just had to adjust. We were behind from all the surrounding counties. Some we weren't. But we've kind of made some adjustments, and then we applied a 5% increase for next year. And as Representative Lawrence told you, that this House Bill 1, that we feel confident it is a minimum that we're going to get. There is some additional state funding coming this next year that we've not had. We're expecting at least $100 in our basic increase. We are expecting a large increase in our transportation funding. We are also expecting to get funding for full-day kindergarten again. You all know we've had kindergarten for a long, long time in the district. The local community has borne the cost of that full-day kindergarten up until this year right now that we're in. It's the first time we've had full-day funding for kindergarten. So those things added together, the state funding is what's going to fund this raise. But I know I'm excited about it. It's, you know, more than we've ever been able to do in a single time, but it is because of the investment, I think, coming from Frankfurt into education. So hopefully this will help us recruit and retain and not lose quality employees to surrounding school districts. You know, I mean, it's nice to work where you live, but if the county next door is paying $5,000 or $6,000 more for the same job, then it gets to the point where it is worth driving. So we're trying to keep that from happening.
Would you like to speak to this, Dr. Burchett?
I would just say that, like Ms. Asher said, we have been working on this for some time. Last year's increase was what we could do at that time based on sustainability. This new money from the state, and again, we believe that's the base, the House Bill 1, the Senate's still working on their side. We've been assured that's the base. It could be more than that, so.
We've got you on tape,
What we're excited about is that what we've done with this, and it's been a collaborative effort with our employees, is that this meets the needs to the best of our ability based upon sustainable and recurring funding. And it's new money to the district from the state. So we appreciate the legislature's effort on that. And we're excited for our staff. We will be able to compete with all of our surrounding neighbors and hopefully retain some folks that maybe we're on the verge of separation, be it through retirement or through taking another position somewhere. Maybe they'll stay and we won't have some of these critical shortages. So,
the only other thing I wanted to say is we're a service business. We have to invest in our people so that our people can educate kids.
The one thing that separates us from the rest of the world is our public education system, literally. And you guys are at the forefront. And like you were talking about the lady the young girl that lived in the car. I mean, the teachers that I have spoken to, you guys literally stand in the gap as parent figures to a lot of the students.
Oh,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
nothing to be taken lightly. Again, I appreciate what y'all do. Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Any questions or comments for Ms. Asher? Thank you so much for all of the work, because this has not been an easy lift.
Well, this
and
is
it's
a fun
been
thing to do.
very well, it's very time consuming, and it wasn't just saying, oh, it's going to be a 5% raise. I mean, you did a lot to smooth out those salary schedules, which needed to be done to make it more equitable and sustainable. I think that moving forward, if each school system's going to have to be competitive, because there's such a shortage. And COVID has caused a lot of people to consider retiring or leaving education in general. So hopefully this will help us, because we don't want to lose all those years of experience. So thank you for all of your efforts in that regard. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hatterick and second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda this evening is consideration to grant approval to accept the School Facilities Construction Commission offer. Ms. Asher.
Okay, this is something that's every second year. We get an offer based on the funding available that's allocated by the General Assembly or school facilities construction. What this is an offer this time in the amount of $48,696. And this is restricted money, can only be used for facility construction or major renovations. However, it's that much every year for 20 years for the life of the bond. So this is absolutely money we don't want to pass up. So requesting approval to accept that offer of assistance.
Yes. Any questions or comments?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Brunker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Schweitzer, school calendar.
I am asking for your consideration of grant approval to amend the 2021-2022 school calendar. As I'm sure you are very well aware, we have had some inclement weather here in Harrison County. We have to date used 7 NTI days. And just kind of a brief rundown here. Teachers were given the option of working yesterday, February the 21st. But in terms of the calendar right now, our last student day is May the 25th. We would have 2 staff work days, May the 26th and 27th. And going back just briefly to the 25th would be a whole day. Graduation is scheduled for May the 27th. And right now, May the 31st would be our closing day. So as we stand right now, those are the amendments that I'm recommending to the calendar.
Well, let's just hope it stays that way and
Yes,
that we don't have any flooding or anything. Shouldn't even say that.
Yes.
So,
And in addition to that, we still have 3 NTI days available for an inclement type of weather situation or flooding or something like that. So we've got a little more wiggle room. We
Cushion.
hope this is the calendar that will take us through to the end of the year.
certainly. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
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 Motion carries. Mr. Schweitzer, consideration to grant approval of plumbing services.
Yes, ma'am. I'm asking for your approval of the bid winner for plumbing services. Bids were opened February the 8th at 1:30. There was only one bid received, and that was from Donald Edwards. So it would be my recommendation. And of course, as you probably know, Mr. Edwards has been with us for several years. I have always been able to depend on him and rely on him in difficult situations. So with no other bids received, it would be my recommendation to hire Donald Edwards as our contract plumber.
Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Ms. Brunker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries. Gosh, it is hard to believe that we're already into mowing services.
I know.
Where has the year gone? It's like, this is crazy. So
Yes, ma'am.
next,
Coach Whitaker's already mowed the baseball field.
Has he?
And softball, yeah.
well, I should have known that. He is prepared.
Coach Whitaker has already mowed the baseball and softball fields.
Really?
That's just hard to believe. The year is flying right along. So next item on the agenda is mowing services.
Yes, ma'am. This is actually hay
Hay,
mowing.
yes.
So I'm asking for your approval of the bid winner for hay mowing services. These bids were also open on February the 8th. And much like the plumbing maintenance bids, there was only one bid received for hay mowing, and that was from Jared Stevens. Mr. Stevens has been the bid winner for probably, this will be and I say, assuming your approval, this would probably be the 4th year. He's been excellent to work with. He actually, this past year, agreed and did purchase any of the leftover remaining hay that we had, and has agreed to do that again
Okay.
at $15 per roll, and which is a huge benefit to us. He has agreed to move all the hay from point A to point B, wherever we would like for him to move it. So it would be my recommendation for Mr. Stevens to be awarded the hay mowing service provider.
Great. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item this evening is approval of a memorandum of understanding with Kidtown Harrison Memorial.
Yes, ma'am. Asking for your approval of a memorandum of understanding between Harrison County Memorial Hospital, which would be considered Kidtown in this particular instance, in the Harrison County Board of Education. This agreement is for aid in the emergency or in a disaster situation if it becomes necessary for Kidtown to evacuate their premises. We essentially agree to give them, if you will, safe harbor.
Any questions or comments? Move to approve. Motion made by Ms. Hattery,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes.
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 I've got a daughter there, so I'm all for it.
Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening is consideration of grant approval for the following outside groups: Cynthiana Democrat, for the Home and Garden Show, Maysville Community and Technical College for graduation, and American Cancer Society for Relay for Life fundraiser.
Yes, ma'am. Asking for your approval for all three of those groups to use Harrison County Board of Education facilities. Each particular group has submitted the appropriate paperwork and certificate of liability insurance.
Great. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Ms. Hatterick. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Now we're to the lawn mowing
Yes,
of the district grounds.
yes, ma'am. I am asking for your approval to renew the mowing and trimming services contract with Tyler Davidson.
Yeah.
In 2021, we amended that mowing contract, which was the first time we had ever done that, to reflect the opportunity for the current bidder to renew for an additional 2 years. Mr. Davidson spoke with me in December and expressed the interest to renew for the upcoming year. I feel like he did an excellent job, worked very hard at keeping the Hilltop and our surrounding schools clean, neat. There is, which I just find amazing, there is or will be no change in the price from last year to this year, and so I actually included that in my memo. But for bid package 1, which includes northeast, west, the cemetery at Leesburg, $640, and then bid package 2, which includes everything here on the Hilltop, with very few exceptions, $499. So it would be my recommendation to renew with Mr. Davidson.
Yeah, that's considerable savings.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Schweitzer, is there any contingency on fuel prices or anything in this? Because from last year to this year, no increase, and
No, sir, there's not.
with the price of fuel going up as it has.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to go up?
No.
And let's face it, his bids have always been very bare bones, you know.
They have become extremely competitive in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it is amazing to me how competitive these bids have become. So, but to answer your question, no, there was not a contingency for fuel cost.
Okay.
I would like to recommend that if the time does come that we relook at that and maybe put a contingency in. Because like I said, you don't want to see anybody go broke, you know.
Yeah, we want to keep him.
So, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, there's a huge discrepancy
Yeah.
in the bids. So certainly Mr. Davidson knows what he's doing because he's made the bid several times, but, I mean, I don't want to,
Approve it as is submitted. and-
yeah, I
and
mean, he
then
submitted it.
If he needs to come back before us at some future time for a request for
Yes.
adjustment, then we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would be
agree.
happy to do that. I'd be, very willing to come to you as a board and say, here's the situation, and
Yeah. So that's something that he can do on his own. So we're just.
Yeah, I'm not saying we
Yeah.
do it now,
Yeah.
but, you know, I just want the board to be willing to take a look at it if and when that time comes.
Okay. So any questions and comments other than Mr. Taylor's? If not, do I hear a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Sparks,
Second?
second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
yes, ma'am, thank you.
Next on the agenda is information only. It's a first reading of policy revisions. Policy number 03.1231 and 03.2231 is pertaining to personal leave, and no action is needed. It's just the first reading.
That's right. Speaking on those policies just briefly, that was part of the work that came out of our work groups. Many of the districts around us provide, as part of employee benefits, provide 3 personal leave days for their employees. Our district has had 2 in its policy for some time, and my recommendation to the board, based upon our work groups and employee request, is that we address that. Of course, that's first reading, no action needed tonight.
Yes.
So please take that into consideration. We'll bring that back before you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
And then before we do the next item, I want to kind of give just a brief overview of, we all lived it, we've done it for the last 2 years. Keep in mind, March 6th of 2020 was when we were the first school district in the state of Kentucky to experience the very first COVID case. And if we go back to that time, we remember in this community, maybe others around the state don't know, we had 53 medical professionals quarantined as a result of that first initial case in this small community. So it was a very challenging time. We initially, this board already had an NTI program in place, a very effective one, that Mr. Schweitzer and Mrs. Hatter and the team had all implemented. And we had the ability to take a step back and give our healthcare providers a chance to get ahead of what we were trying to learn about as a community. So we took that week off, and then lo and behold, after that, we know that everybody else in the state of Kentucky kind of followed suit after that. So moving through that whole next year, that 2021 school year, as you know, we were under immense pressure from a lot of federal mandates, state mandates, state regulatory agencies, local regulatory agencies to manage something that was new to the world. And we did what we could do that was best at that time. We weren't a one-to-one district. We had a lot of challenges. Internet service is spotty throughout the county. We had a lot of challenges that other communities did not have. But our team stepped up and we were prioritized on educating, feeding, and supporting our students. And we did that from day one, if you remember. We were the first district to prepare meals and transport them, not for students to come get them who weren't on site. We transported meals to their homes on a daily basis. So, and then eventually transitioned that to a weekly basis with bulk packaging. But really excited about how our team performed through that first year. We learned a lot from that first year. That was based on social distancing. We had to maintain 6 feet of social distance. We couldn't do that anywhere in our facilities because we just simply didn't have the space. So we had to use that model of that 2 days on, 2 days off kind of model. It was a rotating model depending on what group you were in. That was pretty much year one. We ended that spring back in person. Anybody that wanted to come back in person in the spring of that year. And then we transitioned in the summertime. The numbers got so good that the governor reduced his orders, and we were able to go kind of mask optional during the summer. Matter of fact, we operated a whole summer program with hardly anyone being in a mask. This past fall, we rolled back into school, and Delta is the predominant variant that's traveling around the world, and we dealt with Delta. I want to say we created this dashboard at the start of this school year because we wanted the community to be able to see transparently what is going on in our school. These numbers are more reflective and real time of what is happening now. Richard, if you can scroll down just a little bit, and just so everybody understands how this dashboard works, and it's live on our website. Each one of these links at the top, you can see the details on any school if you click on HCHS or NS or North, South, East, or West. But right now in Harrison County, as of last night, early this morning, there was 101 active cases in the community. Okay? In our school system, there were 4 active cases. Now keep in mind that's about 2,800 students and we've got about 400 full-time employees and another 100 or so paraprofessionals, coach, volunteer subs, other folks. So out of about 500 employees and 2,800 students, 4 active cases. 6 currently quarantined in the entire school system. Our numbers are extremely low, and it's the first time really that you can see we've got to this point. Last week, I consulted individually with board members about our numbers going down. We met with Dr. Miller, who's the local public health director, and she said certainly our numbers are going down and we can support Harrison County Schools transitioning to a mask optional platform. And so we made that announcement last week. The resolution you have before you tonight will kind of codify that and give it the effect of the board's authority for us to continue to move forward in that way. But on this dashboard, anybody that wants to go back and look, Richard, can you put your mouse pointer in this section and then scroll just a little bit, just right in there, now just kind of scroll up or down right there. Just drag through you see the slide bar right here on the right, so you can drag it. It will take you all the way back. You can look all the way back to, just stay in that section right there. It will take you all the way back to August of this year when we started. And you can see the numbers, and there's times that we were absolutely, 48 cases in the school, 138 quarantine, 43. We are just now, really, so we had the Delta, and it went up real high and came back down. In November, early November, we were at the point where we were just about going to be able to transition to a mask optional. That's when the Omicron hit in our community, and it started spiking again. And then it's just now went back down to the point where we were able to make this transition. We had to do this with the support of the public health director. At the same time, Scott County and Nicholas, it tends to happen regionally. You can see, if you look at the state map, the northern counties, Kenton, Campbell, Boone, those counties, they're already well down into the orange. It kind of works regionally. It doesn't care about county lines, but at the same time, it's where we're getting to our good point. So is Scott and Nicholas. We're all three in Wade Coast Health District, and we all three announced a transition to mask optional February 28th. So I just want to give the board an update of that, where we are today. Dr. Miller feels very comfortable with where we are and where we're headed, and we're excited about making this transition and making life and school as normal as possible for our students. I know the board has a resolution, so with that,
Are you ready for me to read that?
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm going to share.
Unless anyone has any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Burchett? I'm going to share the resolution. So just bear with me while I read this. Resolution of the Harrison County Board of Education supporting a transition to mask-optional learning environment and authorizing the superintendent of schools to continue modifications to the Healthy at Harrison operational plans consistent with the current number of positive cases within the schools for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year. Whereas the Harrison County School District and Harrison County Board of Education, hereinafter the board, was the first county school district in Kentucky to be faced with responding to an outbreak or potential outbreak of COVID cases in Kentucky. And whereas the board has been committed to educating, feeding, and supporting all students throughout the nearly 2-year pandemic in both remote and in-person settings. And whereas the board, superintendent, and district employees have dedicated themselves to ensuring every student has the opportunity to learn in both the safest manner as well as in the least restrictive environment possible for the individual student. And whereas the board, superintendent, and district employees were challenged with accomplishing this task through ever-changing federal and state mandates, agency guidance, and sometimes under conflicting messaging. And whereas the board, in an effort to keep our students, staff, and community safe, has consistently relied on and worked in conjunction with the local public health authority for guidance in development and review of all operational plans utilized during the pandemic. And whereas the board strives daily toward a goal of returning all educational activities under their supervision to what our students, staff, and community know as normal, as safely and efficiently as possible. And whereas our community, our commonwealth, our nation, and the world begin the process of transitioning from pandemic to endemic. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the board, 1, remain steadfast in the expectation that the superintendent and administration continue to plan for and provide a safe and inclusive learning environment that meets the needs of all students in as normal a fashion as possible. 2, authorizes the superintendent to implement measures designed to continue as well as increase the opportunities for student progress accomplished this school year. These measures could include, but are not limited to, modifications to the Healthy at Harrison guidelines or other procedures implemented since the pandemic began in Harrison County, March the 6th, 2020. Values and expects the continued community collaboration among the school district, Wedco Public Health Department, Harrison Memorial Hospital, the City of Cynthiana, and the Harrison County Physical Court necessary to endure this global pandemic. The board views our school as community schools where we help grow the future leaders of not only this community, but the future leaders of the world, and therefore we rely on input from all stakeholders to ensure we are establishing and achieving community goals. And 4, is committed to providing future opportunities for community engagement and discussion on important topics such as character education, social and emotional wellness, leadership development, work-ready, career-ready, and life-ready skills as we continue our transition. This has been passed, or will be passed. I'm jumping the gun here. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hatterick. All in favor say yes.
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 Yes, motion carries. Okay. Next item on the agenda this evening is approval of employee leaves of absences. You all have those in your folder. If there are no questions or comments, do I hear a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Hatterick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor say yes.
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 Yes, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is information only. It's the superintendent's report of personnel actions. That's in your folder for your review. We do have one emergency item, and Dr. Burchett's going to speak to that.
As you know, the board must approve by state law all overnight trips. We had a latecomer, a group that learned of their opportunity as they advanced from a previous event. It's our speech team at the high school, and they're asking for approval to travel to Northern Kentucky University for a two-day, one-night event, March 11th and the 12th. So I would recommend that we approve that.
Any questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Sparks.
Second.
Second by Ms. Brunker. All in favor, say yes.
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 Yes, thank you so much. Public comment. If there is no public comment, I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. I know it's a long day, and I'm sure the kids were excited after being home one day. I'm sure they were a little rowdy being back in today, but thank you so much. You all have been amazing and continue to be amazing, and I know it's not easy. So we appreciate everything that you do. If there are no further comments,
Move we adjourn.
a motion made by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
second by Mr. Sparks. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.